Welcome to The Gailey Show for a segment I'm calling Let's Queer the Air, where I'm going to share a queer and hopefully clearer perspective on issues personally important to me. This video stuff, it's a bit of an experiment, to be honest, so we'll see how this goes. But now usually I'm all about finding the funny in life, but this time around I do want to talk about something rather serious and personal: the war on queer culture.
Transgender children here in Tennessee appear likely to lose their access to gender-affirming care.
Right now, nearly a dozen states have proposed legislation that would either limit or ban drag show performances in front of children. Now, these
drag performances out in the open, like this one at Nashville Pride last year, will now be illegal in Tennessee.
Don't get me wrong, there is still some pretty fucking hilarious stuff in all of this, but I don't know if you've noticed out there when it comes to queer culture, but there's a full-on dynasty-grade duke out going. Bitch! For you young people watching Dynasty, it was like a long TikTok that only aired once a week in the 80s. And you had to sneak in so that your parents wouldn't see you watching it, and it was what you called a soap opera. So it was like Housewives of Beverly Hills, except like far more realistic.
Only thing that is artificial or fake about me.
Well, my point is, the brewing battle is coming to a boil. Whether it's making drag performances illegal, denying queer youth basic human rights, or whatever this bitch keeps talking about.
I ended up putting a sign outside my office door that said there's only two genders, male and female. Trust the science.
Now, I agree, Margarine Tater and Beans. I mean Marjorie Trailer Queen. I mean Marjorie Dictator Fiend. Whatever the fuck your name is. Absolutely should follow the science. And based on this next clip, I think maybe you might need to go back and complete high school science. And maybe English class while you're at it.
Very bad, because Bill Gates wants you to eat his fake meat that grows in a Peachtree dish. So you'll probably get a little zap inside your body, and that's saying, no, don't eat a real cheeseburger. You need to eat the fake burger.
A Peachtree dish? A Peachtree dish.
It's in a Peachtree dish. It's in a Peachtree dish. It's in a Peachtree dish. So you'll probably...
I can't believe a Peachtree dish. I can't believe she said Peachtree dish. Peachtree dish, a Peachtree dish. Oh yeah, that's the special dish we use only when we're doing sciencey things, experimenty things. Not to be confused with a pine tree dish, a pear tree dish, or a palm tree dish. BT dubs. That's quite cute dishes. We should sell that as merch. Now, I could forgive the Congresswoman if this was a one-time Freudian slip. I mean, she is, after all, representing Georgia, the state famous for its peach trees and QAnon followers. Do I detect a peach tree conspiracy? But there are some malapropisms. Malapropisms. BT dub, malapropisms, is a fancy word for what the fuck are you talking about? Like mixing up the word for cold soup and the once secret police of Nazi Germany.
Now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on members of Congress, spying on the legislative work that we do.
Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police, gazpacho. Sorry. I guess I missed that Washington Post article about Pelosi's crackdown on gazpacho. Cold soup. Those damn woke elite liberals. First rigging elections, and now they're trying to control the supply of cold Spanish soup. Marjorie, are you fucking with us? I suppose sometimes life gives you lemons and you make lemonade, and sometimes life gives you crazy white congresswomen and you just have to have a laugh at their expense.
I know. You know what? They're calling me Congress's new it girl.
Oh, it like the new thing?
No, it like the evil clown that preys on children.
But it is important for us to understand our enemy. And what you really need to know about Marjorie is a supporter of science.
I'm always talking science, okay? Unless that science is about climate change, coronavirus, space lasers, evolution, the metric system, the rhythm method, breastfeeding, living on Mars, Jesus' skin color, or Santa's skin color, by the way.
And possibly coronavirus is patient zero.
I have to sneeze. Sorry, my allergies.
That was a sneeze?
Oh, yeah. See, when I was a little girl, I sneezed once, and nobody said bless you, so a demon got in. Sorry.
So it was just a demon that escaped the Wuhan lab. That all makes so much sense now. To think we could have evaded the entire COVID pandemic with a simple Gesundheit. Is that how you say it? Gesundheit? Gesundheit. Bless you. Congresswoman Green is a perfect example of a problem once rampant in the 1980s and is now resurfacing. And I'm not talking about her dry, split-end, flat iron, crispy hair. Although she should consider a VO5 moisturizing hot oil treatment.
Don't be so mean to your hair.
Damage caused by everyday washing and styling soon adds up.
For anyone under the age of 35, that was an iconic television commercial from the 1980s. Don't be so mean to your hair. Boop, boop. Get hot. Or something like that. Oh, and television commercials was like a TikTok video, except without the eavesdropping by the Chinese government. Okay, I may have just ruined any chances of going viral on TikTok now. Chinese government, are you listening? Living wage for children under 14. Anyways, all jokes aside, what I am talking about is falsely depicting LGBTQ+ people as a threat, portraying us as inherently malevolent to children and families. Just over 4 decades ago, lawmakers sought to deny gay, trans, and queer folks basic human rights in the face of the emerging AIDS crisis.
Scientists at the National Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta today released the results of a study which shows that the lifestyle of some male homosexuals has triggered an epidemic of a rare form of cancer.
The Republican mayoral candidate who's trying to make AIDS a campaign issue.
It is our duty to protect these people from themselves if we are forced to. The AIDS virus has no civil rights.
I fear there are a lot of people who have been strongly against the gay community and would like to use this terrible tragedy of AIDS as a basis for coming in and showing how strongly they are against the gay community.
And while today's issues are unique, we are hearing very similar rhetoric that attempts to deny the very existence of people in our community. These laws look to deny cultural identity and the very existence of trans people.
Transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The whole preposterous ideology at every level.
I'm going to be introducing my bill, the Protect Children's Innocence Act, that will make it a felony to perform anything to do with gender-affirming care on children.
I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask...
And I've made it clear that we can agree to disagree and still love each other and still move forward. Unless, and I'm not the first person to say this, this came from James Baldwin, unless the root of our disagreement is in my right to exist. And that's what you're doing with this legislation.
The legislation is hypocritical, mean-spirited, fear-mongering, and it's a time to look at the facts. Fact. What are the top U.S. states passing anti-drag, anti-trans legislation? Kentucky, Texas, West Virginia, Georgia, Tennessee. Fact. What are the top U.S. states permitting putting 4-year-old girls in bikinis and parading them around creepy adults, otherwise known as child beauty pageants? Kentucky, Texas, West Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, and Arkansas. Not to mention, these same states are also some of the ones with the highest gun ownership, I know you probably thought I was going to say the highest number of Applebee's and Cracker Barrels per capita. They're also the same states denying abortion and pro-choice. According to these states, God forbid a 5-year-old child be taught how to read by a drag queen. But it's absolutely okay to dress up your 5-year-old like she is a drag queen. That totally tracks. Drag queens are being accused of gyrating in the presence of children. And by gyrating, do you mean this? An anti-drag law in Tennessee restricts what is called sexually suggestive cabaret performances in the presence of children in public. But in the same state, it's okay for children to perform sexually suggestive cabaret performances in public. Did you get that? Cuckoo, cuckoo. Let me put it another way. In Tennessee, it's illegal for a drag queen to dress up as Dolly Parton in public, but it's totally fine if a parent dresses up their toddler as Dolly Parton, complete with false titties and booties to boot.
Some of the show's most notable controversies included an instance when a 4-year-old tasked with impersonating singer Dolly Parton was padded with fake breasts and an ample rear end. Another little girl was dressed like Julia Roberts' famous prostitute character in a Pretty Woman-themed performance.
In Arkansas, a toddler should not listen to the sexually suggestive lyrics of Madonna, but it's totally okay if they impersonate Madonna, complete with a cone-shaped bra.
Sure, it's all a matter of opinion, but some things like a small child wearing a cone-shaped bra really do seem to be a bit much.
And they say the gays make bad parents. I can confidently say I'd never dress up my child as a scantily clad Madonna. I would, however, ensure they learned every lyric to every Madonna song on the 1990 album The Immaculate Collection, but not when they're 5. I love Madonna. Old Madonna. Old Madonna. If anybody has Madonna tickets, DM me. It's not just child beauty pageants that stand out as blatant hypocrisy. Texas has some of the highest numbers of anti-drag protect the children legislation, but there also seems to be no problem with a child attending an NFL game where they will see this.
Here they are, America's sweethearts. The often imitated, never equaled, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Ah, so I get it. Not all gyrating is made equal. Drag performers gyrating equals bad. Cheerleaders and small children gyrating equals good. Makes perfect sense, right? And many critics of gender-affirming care for trans children claim that it is equivalent to child abuse.
These groomers and child predators must be stopped because they're sexualizing children for profit in a multi-billion-dollar medical industry that looks to grow and grow.
But those same parents, those same states, it's okay to give your young toddler Botox as part of a beauty pageant.
11 after she admitted to injecting her then 8-year-old daughter Brittany with Botox.
It hurts sometimes, but I get used to it.
I have to say, kids, I'm not a big fan. They're often bratty, selfish, narcissistic. Sounds like my ex-boyfriend. So I am the first to say, I enjoy a little watching a spoiled, privileged child suffer. Just a little, But even this is too cruel for me.
A little bit of pain to win a little bit of better title. She'll take it all day long.
So I ask you, how is it that it's okay to sexualize our kid or inject them with Botox, but it's not okay to provide gender-affirming therapy? The science, the research is clear. It shows that child beauty pageants are linked to poor body image, childhood depression, narcissistic disorders, and a lifelong dependence on Mountain Dew and Red Bull.
Honey Boo Boo's mother, Mama June Shannon, was criticised for giving her daughter what became known as pageant crack, a combination of Mountain Dew and Red Bull.
Why does she disturbingly sound like every gay man at some point during a circuit party.
Some experts have suggested that pageant dynamics might be more about the parent than the child. In 2012, the University of Arizona cited a study written by Martina M. Cartwright, a registered dietitian and professor who works in nutritional sciences. Cartwright, who was present for 2 live filmings of the show Toddlers and Tiaras, observed many pageant parents engaging in what she dubbed princess by proxy behavior.
And these kids feel exploited later in life, and no wonder why. Parents aren't doing it for their children. These beauty pageants, they're doing it for themselves.
Right. Any risks to the child are secondary or not really considered. She also pointed out that child pageants are a billion-dollar industry.
Forget a college fund. These kids are going to need a PTSD therapy fund. The truth is, Republicans, conservatives, and so-called libertarians claim that government should stay out of their private lives when it comes to fair taxation, covering basic health care, and reasonable gun control. But they are more than happy to have the government intervene when it comes to dictating the care of trans children, a woman's right to have an abortion, or, oh, I don't know, challenging fair and democratic elections. Now, some, you might say, Jason, you're a gay man with no children. Take a seat. This isn't your issue. But I say it is my issue. Community is about standing together, even when you may not feel like it has a direct impact on you. To quote my favorite poet, "Do not ask for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." For all of you young folk, that's a quote from the 17th century writer John Donne, who wrote a lot of poems. Oh, a poem is like a TikTok challenge, except you have nothing but parchment paper and a feather pen. But my point is, we're all in this together. During the AIDS crisis, which impacted me as a young kid, watching terrible, terrible discrimination and death during that period. And do you know who did some of the most amazing work to help support thousands of gay men suffering and dying? A group who in many ways were immune to its devastating effects. The lesbian community. Today, the issues are different, but the principles remain the same. In the queer community, we are all human, yearning to exist, to be loved, to have our identities and our sense of self validated. These are examples, these funny examples of garbage parenting. They're ridiculous and sometimes hilarious. And I feel no shame in having a laugh at these crazy parents' expense, but I do feel for the children. And when it comes to the war waged against the LGBTQ community, these anti-trans laws are no laughing matter. The research shows gender-affirming support to young trans children is not only helpful, it could also save a child's life. The stats bear out that trans children, in the absence of this type of support, are nearly 8 times more likely to commit suicide, be attacked, mentally abused, or even killed. So it's time to queer the air on this issue. If you're looking for ways to help, consider joining me in donating to the first ever crisis hotline for trans youth by going to translifeline.org. It's a small way that we can say, we see you, we are with you, you matter. Because it's not only queer culture that is at stake, it's also kids' lives. Ugh, didn't think I was going to break here. It's also kids' lives that are at stake. And while we're not going to solve this with a dynasty-grade cat fight, as fun as it might be, we can take a note from Alexis Colby and stand our ground.
I'm what I am, and that's why I'm where I am. Don't you ever forget that. The reason that I am who I am and where I am is because I make everything my business. I have a reputation that is unpredictable, devious, and manipulative. I cherish that reputation because it keeps my enemies off guard. At 6 o'clock, I like to slip out of my shoes and into something more comfortable.